Okay, so what we've been doing all along, been introducing the material as we progress. So I'm just going in behind the eye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And cut off that waist bit sort of down there. Now the body in this is sort of micro chenille or vernile as they call it. And you'll see I have singed sort of either end of it. And when you're tying in this body, especially for like a buzzer or a duck fly, you only want it extending just past the bend of the hook, no more. Different sort of, this whole principle can be adopted to the likes of daddy long legs, where you can make a nice big long body. And it's just exactly the same process. So just past the bend of the hook and just pinch down on top, just a couple of turns, and it'll sit sort of perfectly flat there. And then bind forward, probably to about halfway. And then what you've seen in the step-by-steps, I'm not going in to try and cut off in here, like that. I'm going up, sort of using the eye of the hook as a natural taper. And that way, sort of I've cut up into it. And when I bind it down, it'll bind down flat. So a bit of wax. Just bind it all down towards the eye. Just get it nice and tidy. And go back down to where the body was tied in. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to make up some legs. So when you get your legs, what you want to try and do is even up what I would call the knee joints. And don't be getting excited about trying to get them all going the one direction. They will do their own thing no matter what you try to do. So if you get a bunch of them, try and aim the knees for the back, sort of more or less the tip of the body. Tie them in, just bunch of 3 on the far side, couple of turns. Just let them do their own thing. And the same again. Just line up the knee joints and just tie them in on this side. Just a couple of tight turns. So what you've like a set of chaotic legs, and this is sort of ideal for your daddy long legs and the hawthorn as well, where there's the 2 big massive legs out the front of the hawthorn. So I think on the last fly, what I did, I put the CDC in, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to put the CDC in after the seals fur. And the reason I'm going to do it this way is it lost a bit of itself in the fly. So tidy up the legs, just pull them out, and then go back down to where legs are tied off. Just wax a bit. Use both colour seals fur, you've red and black, doesn't matter what you use. I'm just going to use red for the contrast. And what I'm going to do, just a small amount, and it just gets dubbed on. And I said to the laddies last time, sort of just keep it going in one direction. If you start this business, a dub on, dub on, dub on, it just falls to the floor. So if it goes in one direction, it attaches itself to the hook, or the thread, I mean. So dub on a small amount, just a wee tiny ball. I'll add another bit. So you see, I'm not adding a big lot, I'm just adding small amounts. It's too much there nearly. So all I'm really doing is just a contrast. So for the CDC, I have plenty more here if anybody needs any spares. I think the 4 feathers is a bit much. So I'm going to put 2 in here. And CDC is a funny sort of a feather to work with. Now, just try and line the tips up and don't worry about sort of where everything else goes on it, because you want a bit of colour to the end of the body. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to strip off probably about a centimetre's worth of fibres at the back. Now, I know if I tie them in now like that, up against the dubbin, they're going to go up in the air like that, because they're going to force themselves up against the dubbin. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bend in them, and I'm just going to do the 2 at the same time, and it's just with the tweezers, and you hear them talking about a Z bend and bits like that. But what I'm doing is I'm creating a step that I can tie that in nice and tight against the dubbin ball, and it doesn't raise itself, and it'll stay nice and flat. So that's one that sort of shows that later as we'll wander around a bit. So you can see the way that is lay nice and flat, and it's perfectly over the top of the fur. So I think that's the right amount, 2 feathers. So again, just tidy up. And what you'll notice with me, what I've done, I've left myself sort of a lot of room here at the head. And in doing that, what happens then is I can tie in plenty of hackle there, and I can cover all those butt ends. And then I'm left with 2 or 3 turns of a tiny head. So this is sort of these left over from sort of the bibio. So if anybody needs any more, there's plenty here. So again, tied in by the butt this time, and the butt's the thicker end. So again, it's just tied in good side towards me, and just tied in along the side, and just bring the thread forward. And by bringing the thread forward, what we're doing is we're creating a base for the hackle to sit on. And you'll know if your hackle's tied well enough in if you can snip away in one pull. So again, so the hackle pliers, crack them on, and just your wind and touch and turns, one in front of the other. And I'm going to aim for about 5-6 turns here. And you can see now that the head space is starting to get smaller and smaller. That all those butt ends I've wound over. And that leaves me, what I tend to do, I know where I want to tie off. So I go in and strip some of the fibres out. And the reason for doing that, I want to tie these down onto a bare stem, as opposed to sort of trying to trap hackle fibres in. And if you're trapping the hackle fibres in, they'll stick out the front, they'll stick out wherever you don't want them to stick out. So I know now that's on bare stem. So I can go in a few tight turns and pull that out. I can't see anything sticking out the front of it, but it could be my eyesight too. And then we'll whip finish. Just a wee bit of wax. Bobbin holder over the back. Top thread to the eye, and the bottom thread becomes your whipping thread. And you don't need a big lot here to, again, anything to close the loop. And just pull it tight. Sort of snip off. I could have probably pulled that CDC in a bit, but I wanted to Just give you the idea where I'm going with it. And I'm sure that'll sit in the surface film the very best when those pesky duck flies are hatching. So what we've introduced there, we've introduced another couple of materials with the chenille, with a bit of CDC and legs. So everybody happy? Any questions?
What did you put on for legs? 2 batches of 3? Or just the one?
2 threes.
2 3s, aye.
Well,
One each side?
one each side. Just one each side of the body. And just let them do their own thing. Don't worry about sort of trying to manipulate them into positions they're not going to go. They'll find their own way. But play about that CDC. On the step-by-step one, I tied it in at the same time as the legs. And sort of looking back on it now, I find that the legs get a bit lost. Whereas when they're that way, you pull it up, you can see the legs. And it'll lie flat. And if you want to use one feather, use one feather. You want to tie 4 in. You want to tie 6 in, plenty here.